Okay, we're about a half mile into the hike here up towards the wind caves, and we got to the scenic spot. And there's Holly. Further into the hike, and there's this little baby spruce here growing out of a stump. It's kind of deteriorated, the old stump, but still think that's pretty cool. Here's a tree that's got a split right through the middle that's kind of leaning over the trail. I'm sure that's going to fail at some point, but in the meantime, we can appreciate that. Onward. This trail's got shade. This trail's got rocks. This trail's got roots. This trail's got shoots and maples. Here we found a really cool example of some geotropism. So it's just growing up against gravity. Then it slowly that corrected itself to be a little more perpendicular to the pole. I guess, yeah. It grows up against the pull of gravity. All those oxens being pulled down by gravity causes the cells to divide in an upward fashion. Cool stuff. And cool hike. You can kind of see that a little bit right here too. Then just kind of straightens out. Yeah, pretty much all these where you can see a little bit of a crook in them. There's two more right there. But, yep, that's going to be the word for today. Geotropism. It's also called gravitropism. They're used interchangeably. Both terms are correct. So, these trees that you see behind me, that's the quaking aspen, Populus tremuloides for the scientific name. One thing that's really unique about this tree is the way it essentially clones itself. And it will have new trees, so to speak, pop up from the roots. And so essentially when you see a full grove of these guys, or forest, they're essentially one organism. Because they're connected, not like other trees are underground. They're connected directly through their roots as one single organism. Whereas a lot of other trees, they'll share nutrients through a mycorrhizal connection with fungus underground. But this unique connection that the quaking aspen has makes it one of the largest organisms on Earth. It's right up there with this fungus over in Oregon that's also underground. But cool things. So these are all, with the exception of the spruces and firs, these quaking aspens back here, these are all connected as one organism. Alright, about halfway through the hike for the wind caves here, and you can see them behind these trees. I picked a bad time to pull this phone out, but if we walk around this corner here, should be able to see the entrance to the cave.
We'll get the next input.
Yeah. There we go. So there we are, zoomed out. It's a big entrance, so we'll see what that looks like when we get there. Yeah, here's a good view of that cave. Looks like there's a little water coming out. And we'll have some better videos when we get closer. This trail kind of follows this bank up and it curves around and goes up into the cave. But it's a pretty cool entrance. Got distracted here. There's a little juniper. That's just... But here's the entrance. It's cool. There's like a little cliff here that you can fall off of. And I don't really care to get a whole lot closer than that. Little juniper closing on the edge there. Yep. That's a little ways down. You can hear waterfall right about, I think it's there. Yeah. And all that water is coming from the cave, which is right there. Little pit stop here on the hike. I noticed, so there's very few pines throughout most of the hike. I don't think I've actually seen any except for at the base where we parked. But, and we're just talking like lodgepole pines. But right here, we have ourselves a Douglas fir. And anybody that's curious as to how to tell that it's a Douglas fir as opposed to, you know, okay, so a little pit stop here on the hike. We're about a little over halfway, and can't help but notice this little Douglas fir right here. And I say little because this guy, well, this species of tree, Pseudotsuga menziesii, used to be in excess of 400 feet, supposedly. But we still have national champions that are over 250 feet. But one of the unique characteristics to be able to tell that you're looking at a Douglas fir is the cones. So if you look at the cone, it actually has almost like a ribbon coming out of the various parts of it. And it's the only tree I'm aware of that does that. But so if it has little ribbon-like structure coming out of the cone, you know you're looking at a Douglas fir. So a little more on that Douglas fir. It's not a real fir, it's just kind of its own category by itself. So you can almost call it like a false fir. And the scientific name, Pseudotsuga menziesii. The Pseudotsuga portion, we can break that up into two parts. Pseudo meaning false, essentially, and then Suga, which actually is hemlock. And so the scientific name for Douglas fir means false hemlock, which, so we have it, we call it a fir, which is incorrect in English, then we call it a false hemlock with the Latin name. And it's just its own category. There's nothing really else in that genus of tree, and it's just very unique. That's probably one of the reasons why you don't see that type of cone on any other tree. So really unique, really interesting. On this hike, as you're nearing the cave, you start to get out of the trees a little bit and find yourself in meadows like this that the trail just cuts through. And I mean, you'll still run into trees, like there's plenty of spruces, plenty of Douglas firs. I've seen a few actual firs, but it is kind of cool. I mean, it's hard to see on the video, but these meadows, if you come in the right season, these meadows are just full of flowers. I mean, you might be able to see the yellow a little bit, but there's blues, pinks, oranges, lavender color, whites. There's all sorts of flowers out here. That's something I need to learn a little better of, my flowers. But I'm more of a tree guy. Really fun hike though. And yeah, I think we've probably got like a half mile to go just to get to the cave entrance and the waterfall. Another cool thing, this wasn't here last time I was up here, but trail that we just got off of. I mean, we haven't deviated too far off the trail here, but There's this little water feature here. This tiny waterfall.
There's actually usually more water.
Yeah, but last time I was up here, there wasn't any water coming out of this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's kind of cool. You could sleep under there.
It's wet.
Probably wouldn't want to. I'm not saying, but that's cool. Take a shower and just sit in the bath down there.
That's probably freezing.
It is probably freezing. So this is a really cool part of the hike. It's right after that tiny waterfall. It just goes right back into trees. And it's just like a wall suddenly. So you're out in the sun. And it's really not too hot out here. But then just like that, you're in the shade. And yeah, this is like, let's say 70% of the way up to the cave. Well, last time I was out here, there wasn't so much water running. There's like little spots where you got to step over the water and stuff, and it's kind of cool. Just got to kind of walk over it. Alright, and we're in another meadow-like area. So, really cool. There's this blue flower coming up here. It's just kind of striping the meadow. And I don't know what this is. Again, I need to learn my flowers a little better. But you can kind of see it in the... I don't know, it might be a little hard to see it on the video. But... let's see here. There it is behind me. Let's try the other side here. Maybe this angle will be better. Yeah, I think you can see it a little bit. Okay, so the last little bit is a little bit of back and forth on steeper climb, but it's not too bad. Fallen tree.
Fallen leaf.
So, made it to this first waterfall at the base, and this was the trail coming up, and now we got to go up this. Doesn't look like a hole, but let's see. This is probably the hardest part of the hike. The downside to this being one of the hardest parts of the hike is that it's at the very end. But that happens a lot with hikes like this. Typically the steepest part's going to be towards the end. One thing that's kind of cool is as you look at some of the stripped wood here, you can see the twist going down the bark, well, where the bark used to be. That just adds to more structural integrity of the tree, help it be stronger. It's really cool how these roots form kind of stairs, so between the stones and the roots, it's just like walking up stairs that are uneven. Got some cool views. Then it just keeps going up. This is it. The entrance of the cave. The wind cave. Oh, excuse me. More stairs. Yep, lots of climbing. Well, I made it inside the cave. Big cave. There's just a lot of running water. Oh, sorry. And a fair amount of people waiting on me. Well, that water just kind of comes up from under the rocks right here. It's a big entrance.
Where do you want me to
Okay.
try it? Oh.
So we found some ice, and we're not even that deep into the cave.
This used to be like a big old...
There we go. Yeah, here's a good chunk of ice. We're in July. There's another chunk of ice right there. It's hard to see, but there's some people down there. Huge cave, and the temperature drop was massive. Yeah, where that ice glows, that's cool. Yeah, vamos. Okay, she's going to light the way, and I'm going to just record and try not to kill myself on a rock. As far as we can. I don't know, until one of you says to turn back. ¿Qué tan profundo quieres ir? ¿Tus pies? ¿Te duelen? No. Ay, no puedo ver, no puedo ver. Ay. Alright, so the cave comes to this tiny point, about...
Oh, it's already warmer.
about what? 150 meters, 200 meters in. This is probably where it gets the name the Wind Cave, because it is windy. ¿Puedes pasarme la luz? Por aquí puedo ver. Sit. There we go. Ow.
You go stand up again first.
Gets real small again, and then it's where it's windy, and then it gets. Whew. Oh, okay, yeah. A lot bigger. I think there's people back here. Whew. Hot outside, it's nice and cool in here.
Did you not bring a jacket?
No. Está bien. Oh. There we go. estás?
Baja mi moquito cuando salgamos de la cueva.
Oh, ok. ¿Tienes mucho frío? Oh, ok.
It's like Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yeah. I can't like see anything where my feet are going. It's just all huge rocks. Oh, there we are. Oh.
Slippery.
Ugh. I mean, cool cave. But there is a lack of trees in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Ouch. Ouch. My knees.
Lordo.
In my defense, I was kneeing my hand. Here we go. Ouch. Careful, there's a rock right there.
There's lots of rocks everywhere though.
Passen. Oh.
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. You guys go all the way to the ice plug?
No. We didn't. We got too scared.
There we go. Oh. Well, we're back to where we can actually see light at the end of the tunnel. But it is cold. Doesn't matter when you come up throughout the year. You really can't even come in here in the winter. But even during like the hottest times of year, it's pretty cold in this cave. When you get to those small points where it's all you get all that wind rushing through, that'll cool you off. Yeah, we're back to where we saw the ice earlier. Overall, not a difficult hike. 4 out of 4 stars. Yep, this is not for the faint of knees. But this waterfall runs pretty rampant when it rains. Just coming out. Popping out right there, popping out over there. Tons coming out right there. We get way down there and huge cave. Not sure how well you can hear, but the entrance is a little sketchy. So out we go. Por atrás. Kind of tricky to get in there.
You want to go up there?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Holly quiere subir. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, so we went a little higher than the caves in the distance. Just around that ridge is the wind cave entrance. And we just kind of came out and around, came up a trail that ended up here at these rocks. But something that kind of stood out to me that I thought was really cool is here we are kind of towards the tops of this mountain. And I found this rock. It's got shells in it, seashells. And that is in the rock. So cool. Well, the nice thing with this hike is pretty much everything on the way back is all flat or downhill. And it doesn't really matter if it's hot outside because a lot of it's shaded. You get a nice little breeze since you're in a canyon. But very fun hike. Almost back down. I think we still have a little bit less than a mile. Still, even in the heat of the day, it's really cool. I mean, when we get to the spots where there's less shade, you can definitely feel it. But overall, I mean, it's a nice hike.